Okay, guys, welcome back to All Nerd Everything. My name is Craig. If you're new here, I discuss all things from film, your favorite film content, TV shows, comic books, all that. And this might be a little late, seeing how seeing how the month of June is about to end. I should have did this a couple of weeks ago, but I wanted to discuss everything that I watched in the month of May. It's not a whole lot, but I am trying to get back into the groove of things when it comes to a lot of movies, whether it's newer movies that have came out this year that I still haven't seen yet, or rather it's classic films that everyone loves that I haven't gotten around to. So with the first one, the first one, Thunderbolts, and I gave that 4 stars on Letterboxd, and I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't like how they spoiled the film by titling it New Avengers. For people that didn't watch the film, that was a major spoiler for them. So I think that didn't really help matters at all. And I just like the name Thunderbolts better. I've already discussed the my thoughts on the film. So if you guys want to watch my review or my thoughts on the film, go watch that. I put it out about a month ago. And Thunderbolts, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised because I've just been losing interest in, Marvel over the past couple of years with the disconnect with the TV shows and the movies, and just the lack of where they want the story to go, essentially. And Thunderbolts rejuvenated my love of Marvel again. And a lot of that has to do with the story it was telling. I love the mental health that they were discussing in the film, depression, grief, suicidal thoughts. And this film was excellent. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I still have the popcorn bucket sitting in my closet on the top shelf. So yes, if you guys haven't seen Thunderbolts, you need to get on it real quick. Next, I watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and this was recommended to me by a friend. We're in a movie group chat and we do this thing called Movie Mondays, where we're paired up with someone. We give each other a film, and we watch it and review it. And I was given Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind from a friend of mine. Excuse me. And this came out in one of the best years of film. A lot of people talk about 1999 being the best years, one of the best year of film, but we can't. Excuse me. We cannot forget about 2004. You had Aviator, you had Raid, you had Collateral, you had House Moving Castle, you had The Incredibles, you had Spider-Man 2, you had Shrek 2, you had Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, you had Man on Fire, you had iRobot. Not really the biggest fan of that one. It's okay, but you get what I'm saying. 2004 was also phenomenal. And Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, this was so damn good. I thought that Kate Winslet was going to fall into the Manny Pixie Dream Girl trope, but it completely flipped that trope on its head. If y'all aren't aware, the Manny Pixie Dream Girl trope is usually a woman with very colorful hair, whether it's blue, red, pink, or whatever, and she's usually there just to rejuvenate the life into the male protagonist. Like, he's usually depressed or grieving, like down on his luck, whether he lost his job or just went through a breakup or lost a family member or something like that. And the Manny Pixie Dream Girl is there to essentially bring him back to essentially make the male protagonist feel any kind of happiness again, any kind of life again. And it's just that trope has been done to death. I didn't even realize it until maybe a couple of years ago when this was brought up to me. But when you watch this film, it completely averts that trope by what the twist of this movie is. And for everyone who has not seen this, you need to get on it right away because Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is possibly one of the greatest films ever, in my opinion. And I give it 4.5 stars on letterboxd. Maybe I need to go back and rewatch it to give it 5, but I mean, damn, it's good. Next, I watched Summer of '69, and I watched this on Hulu. Now, if I'm looking away, that just means I'm looking at my laptop and just scrolling through my letterbox. So yeah, I watched Summer of '69, and this is on Hulu, and this is a film about this girl who, a high school girl who wants to, as the title says, wants to 69 with a guy that she has a crush on at school, and she hires this stripper to teach her everything she knows about sex and whatnot. And Charlie Day plays the scumbag that is trying to buy the strip club that she works at, and he's just absolutely hilarious. He makes a lot with the very little screen time he has. I'd say maybe he has about like 10 minutes, if that. This movie is corny, but in a good way. I actually enjoyed it. I might go back and rewatch it, and I gave it 3.5 stars on letterboxd. So yeah, very underrated. Check this film out. It's on Hulu if you guys want to watch it. Summer of '69. Next I watch excuse me, I don't know what the hell's going on. Next I watch The Woman in the Yard. Now this one, when I heard the backlash about this film a few months ago, like when it initially came out, a lot of people were saying it's a complete ripoff of the Babadook. And I already gave my review on this film and my thoughts on the film and comparing it to the Babadook. And I had to watch the Babadook a couple of times before I watched The Woman in the Yard, and I finally watched it last month. And the only similarity between the two films is that it's about grieving mothers and there's a dog in the film. That's essentially it. Excuse me. The major differences is, first of all, this movie takes place in the day and is doing broad daylight, which I think adds a more level of intensity in a horror film. It's very hard to do a horror film in broad daylight, but this one pulls it off really well. And I was very skeptical going into this because Blumhouse has made some real stinkers, but fortunately this is not one of them. I actually thoroughly enjoy this film. I think a lot of people are exaggerating by saying that it's a complete ripoff of the Babadook, because it's not. It tackles the same thing, grief and depression. It just does it in completely different ways. And plus, on top of that, I think The Woman in the Yard is shot a lot better. I mean, a lot of the POV shots really make you feel like you're running for your life. And I gave this 4 stars on letterboxd. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm actually going to get it on physical media when it is released, or it might already be released on physical media. I don't know. I have to check. But yeah, I think a lot of people were exaggerating on the hate of this film, and it did not deserve it at all. So let me know what y'all thought of The Woman in the Yard, and how do y'all feel about it being compared to the Babadook, and do you think it's a ripoff at all? I'd like to know your thoughts. Next, I watched Last Breath. Now, I need to read the synopsis for this because I don't really know much. I didn't really know much about this film until I watched it. But God, okay, the excuse me, it's starring Woody. Damn. Okay, hold up, cat. Okay, it's starring Woody Harrelson, Simu Liu, and Finn Coyle. And the synopsis is: seasoned deep sea divers battle the raging elements to rescue their crewmate trapped hundreds of feet below the ocean surface. And when it comes to a lot of like thriller films in taking place in the ocean, usually there's always like some sort of sharks involved or something like that, because shark movies are very easy to do. But Last Breath, that was very very intense, and I always applaud people that do jobs like that, because doing something like that is very nerve wracking. And I was holding, no pun intended, but I was holding my breath doing a lot of the scenes in this film, particular, ah, specifically. I don't know what's wrong with me today. Specifically, when one of the main character that was lost, that was stuck, you know, in the middle of the ocean with very little very little time to breathe. I mean, it was very nerve wracking. I mean, the acting's good. It's pretty underrated. It kind of flew under the radar, but I gave it 3 stars on letterboxd. I thought it was just, I mean, I thought it was cool. Will I go back and rewatch it? Maybe. I'm not too sure. But yeah, if you guys seen Last Breath, let me know your thoughts. I thought it was a decent time. Next, I watched Black Bag, and this has, okay, Black Bag is directed by Steven Soderbergh, who did the, I'm blanking on the name of the Ghost movie that came out this year. He did the Ghost movie that came out this year, which, God, I definitely need to, ugh, let me look up the name of that movie, which is Presence. That's right. In Presence, I was back and forth on that. Maybe I need to rewatch that again for a different perspective of that film. I thought it was just okay. I know a lot of my friends actually really loved Presence, but I actually like Black Bag better. And he put out 2 solid films this year, Presence, which I thought it was decent. But Black Bag, I think the movie is just an all around better movie. The characters are fleshed out more, and the premise of this is when intelligence agent Catherine Woodhouse is suspected of betraying the nation. Her husband, also a legendary agent, faces the ultimate test of whether to be loyal to his marriage or his country. And this is starring Kate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender, and they have excellent chemistry together. They are 2 of the best actors. I think Michael Fassbender, he is kind of glossed over a lot. I think a lot of people just know him as Magneto, but he has some excellent performances outside of the X-Men movies that a lot of people need to pay attention to, and this is one of them. And I gave this, actually, on letterboxd, I gave it 3.5 stars. My only problem with the film is, looking at my review, still the same problem that I have with it now, and that is that the cinematography is great and the acting is great. However, there are a few scenes in the film that it feels like the light is overexposed, and the pacing is kind of slow. I wish that the movie was actually a little bit longer, but which you don't hear a lot of people saying that much. But other than that, I don't really have any strong nitpicks about the film. It's just that I thought it was some scenes were a little overexposed than others, and I do wish that it was a little longer, because the pacing starts off a little slow, but once it gets into what the story's about, then it's a whole lot of fun. So yeah, Black Bag, I gave 3.5 stars. Very, very worth it. Next, I started the Final Destination trilogy, starting with the first one, and the first one is still solid. I mean, of course, a lot of the green screen stuff, you have to look past that, but this is still up there as one of the best original horror films, in my opinion, that spawned a hell of a franchise. So I gave that 3 stars on letterboxd. Next, for Final Destination 2, I heard for years that this was one of the best ones, and I'm sorry, you guys are gonna hate me for this, But I disagree. I don't think it's the best one. I still have not seen Bloodlines yet, so forgive me. But Final Destination 2, the only thing that people like about this movie are the death scenes. The death scenes are great, don't get me wrong. However, I think why I was so disconnected with this film is because a lot of the characters, unlike the first one, a lot of the characters are just random people that they met, that meet each other because of the main protagonist's premonition. And because of that, there's no connection between them. So I don't really feel like I care enough about all of them. And I don't feel like a lot of the characters were fleshed out enough for me to care about them. And yeah, I mean, the only thing I like about this film are the death scenes. The characters are pretty boring in my opinion, and probably has my least favorite protagonist. I mean, not the worst of the film, but I mean, it was okay. I gave it 2 stars on letterboxd. I mean, say what you will, hate me if you will. Next, and next up, Final Destination 3. Now, this one is my favorite one so far. When I finally watch Bloodlines, I'll get back to you guys. But Final Destination 3, Mary Elizabeth Weinstein, oh my god, phenomenal. This has one of my favorite kill scenes in the film. I mean, the death scenes in this film are my favorite of the bunch. And Mary Elizabeth Weinstein, she's actually one of my, I'd say her character is my second favorite protagonist after the original one in Final Destination. I think the protagonist in the very first Final Destination is written a lot better, but I think Final Destination 3 is the, how do I put this? It's just more enjoyable to me to watch, especially with the death scenes. And I think Mary Elizabeth Weinstein is very underrated, and she doesn't get the credit she deserves as an actress. She was great in this. So yeah, I gave this 4 stars on Letterboxd. But let me know what y'all think, because I remember watching the opening scene of this when I was a kid, but I definitely had to go back and rewatch this because I don't remember if I watched the whole thing. But I'm glad I did, because in my opinion, it's one of the best ones. And next, I watched The Final Destination. God, where do I even start with this atrocity? This was all over the place. This was, why are we experimenting with 3D? I mean, I hate 3D. I always hated that concept of movies. I'm not a 3D person. I'm not a 2D person. And God, just, I didn't even finish the film. It was just so bad. The characters were boring, and it looked like a Tubi movie. That's how terrible it was. I mean, it looked like something you would watch on Hallmark. The green screen effects were terrible. The death scenes were just outlandishly cartoonish. It was just, yuck. Too, too gross. No, I give it a half a star on Letterboxd. I didn't even finish the film. I got maybe 30 minutes into it, and I was like, you know what? I can't do this. I have to cut this off. This is just getting ridiculous. So yeah, I don't ever want to see The Final Destination again, because it will be the final time I watched it, and I didn't even finish it at all. Let me know if y'all actually like The Final Destination. I want to hear y'all's thoughts on that film, because it was so bad I couldn't even finish it. And finally, I watched, for the month of May, finally I watched Fury. Now this is the war film about army, I mean, about uh okay, the premise, in the last months of World War II, as the Allies make their final push in the uh European theater, battle hardened US Army sergeant named War Daddy played by Brad Pitt, commands a Sherman tank named Fury and its 5 men across a deadly mission behind enemy lines. Outnumbered and outgunned, War Daddy and his men face overwhelming odds in their heroic attempts to strike at the heart of Nazi Germany. Now, this has a great ensemble cast with Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf, Logan Lerman, Michael Pena, uh, John Berthal, who is always playing an complete asshole, and the nicest people play the most dickish characters, and John Berthal is excellent at that. And this film was great. I mean, very. I when it comes to war films, there's only like a certain amount of times I can watch that, because of the you know the the intense scenes and the graphic stuff. But very underrated film. I think that when it comes to, compared to other films like other war films like Born on the Fourth of July, Saving Private Ryan, this is among one of the best, but one of the more underappreciated ones. I think that this one kind of goes. I mean, I think this one is not really discussed enough when it comes to the other classics that I just named. Um, but I thought they were all great performances all around. I don't really have too much to say about this one. I gave it 3.5 stars on letterboxd. So yeah, that's everything I watched in the month of May. Let me know what you guys think of my list. If you have any suggestions, let me know. But until then, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to stay updated with more movie, TV show, and comic book news and reviews. And enjoy the rest of you guys' week.